Friends, before we dive in, I want to extend an invitation into something sacred that could be part of your unfolding. I'm hosting 3 Angel Reiki Schools upcoming in person September 19th, November 7th, January 23rd. Those are all the dates when they start. When you join, you don't just receive one certification, you're initiated into 3 in the Angel Reiki School: mediumship, energy healing, and becoming an angel messenger yourself. This is a one-stop sanctuary where all of your spiritual gifts are activated and grown together, your unique gifts. People are called to this program for so many reasons. Some are searching for a second career that is deeply fulfilling, one where they can witness lives transformed through the creative, soul-led work that they're putting out into the world, one that starts with the Angel Reiki School. Others feel the longing to create an income that supports the life they've always dreamed of: more time freedom, the ability to take family vacations, to be there walking their children to school and be there when they get home from school, to make the memories that matter most in this life. I often remind my students to say out loud, I am a high 6-figure angel medium. Time and time again, they come back to share how claiming that vision and going through the Angel Reiki School has opened new doors to financial abundance, radiant joy, and the freedom to live life on their terms. Yes, it does take devotion to build your own business, but the Angel Reiki School is where you begin. You might not yet understand why your soul is being pulled here, but once you step in, I promise you'll feel it. The remembering, the recognition, the sense of coming home. And because the Angel Reiki School weekends are so intimate, so wonderful, alumni love coming back, that you don't have to, but they love the energy so incredibly much. They asked to come back. So we did include an alumni option where you can. But because the Angel Reiki School weekends are so intimate, half of our in-person dates sell out. So if you feel that stirring in your heart, trust it. Save your space now. I keep our groups small on purpose so that I get to know every single one of you well, and join us for one of the upcoming Angel Reiki School weekends. Remember, that's in September, November, or January. All of them start on a Friday evening at 6 p.m. and all of them end by Sunday, somewhere in between 12 to 2. You can register at theangelmedium.com/get certified. Step into the Angel Reiki School today and begin to embody your spiritual gifts to the fullest expression. Everyone who joins the Angel Reiki School gets access to both the online and in-person school. Join today, theangelmedium.com. Now, here's today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancius. And friends, today I want to bring you a story from the book Guardian Angels: True Stories of Answered Prayers by Joan Wester Anderson. And a big shout out. Thank you so much to the publisher for allowing us to read some of these stories from each book. It has been like such a huge blessing. I'm working with some of you to bring in new angel stories, the best angel stories. And so we're going to get back to that soon. But just as I'm kind of still getting back to new normal, I just feel so grateful to be able to share some of these stories. And just a quick little update. Thank you so much to you who are praying this year. I'm so grateful for your prayers. A little update is that Elle's surgery is scheduled for the second Wednesday in November 2025. I think that's November 12th. And so we're going to be flying out to New York. A bit more extensive than I thought. It's not just kind of like a 3-day recovery. It's probably about a 6-week recovery. They're going to be working on her spinal cord first. They kind of go into the spinal cord. Too much detail. Anyway, that is the first stop to kind of see how everything progresses. A lot of times in medical situations, if you've kind of dealt with this yourself, you go to the doctor and they say, okay, well, we got to do this first, and then we got to wait and see 3 months, 6 months, and come up with a game plan from there. So that is the plan. If you pray, thank you so much for continuing to keep her in your prayers. One of the things that has been unexpected and just huge in my life this year is as I went through my hysterectomy and this with Elle, I've always kind of wondered. There's a couple of different directions I want to go here. Sorry, it's late at night and I'm recording this before going to bed. And my dad used to say growing up, Julie, it's like the light bulb in your head turns off at like 9 p.m. And it's so true. And it's about 9:16 p.m. Funny side story. When I was in college, I think that I stayed up past midnight like 5 times, right? And I'm just not a night person, but I've never missed delivering a Thursday episode and or a Monday episode. And it really brings me so much joy to be able to bring you angel stories and to bring hope into people's lives. What keeps me going. So thank you for letting me be here and do this. But a couple different directions that I want to go. Spirit has always come in and said, Julie, the impact of stress on the physical body is actually so much more than people realize. And I remember having a conversation with a woman this year, and Spirit just like highlighted and circled it when she said this and really just knocked me over. She said, Julie, there was a time in my life where she was dealing with so much stress that and it was actually stress at work, it was external factors, that she actually had a stroke from the stress itself. And Spirit highlighted it and circled it because we don't often realize how much just the things that happen in our lives bring so much stress into our bodies, into our minds. And that stress weighs on us, mind, body, and spirit, changing our lives. There's really so much more that we need to understand and that I really want to channel with the angels when it comes to stress and how it impacts us. The other thing, the direction that I kind of want to segue into here is one of the other most powerful moments so far of this year has been so many people reaching out and saying, you know what, Julie, not only am I praying for you, but I have this entire network praying for you as well. And we had started years ago something called World's Largest Prayer Network. You can go to it at that website, worldslargestprayernetwork.com, and you can sign up to pray for others. I pray for people who are submitting prayers through there every single morning. We have a network who's praying for those folks, and you can submit prayers as well anytime. I also have seen the way that other prayer networks work, and so much of my mind has just been spinning with the angels coming in and showing me different things that we can do on this earth when it comes to prayer itself and praying over those who really need it because they are in a very stressful situation. And I think the stress right now that a lot of people are feeling, a lot of people are going through so much. And so when I say the wheels in my head have been spinning, what I mean is I feel like there's just this rush of creativity that has been coming in from Spirit, showing me so many different ways that I can be using our community to pair with people who need help, who need support, and really having a bigger network of energy work happening, of prayer happening. And that is something that I am so, so inspired to get up and running more when I have time, the beginning of 2026. It's not 2026 yet, though. It is August 26th as I'm reading this, 2025. And when it comes to this book called Guardian Angels by Joan Wester Anderson, she starts out with a letter and then she goes into an introduction. And I know a lot of people skip all that stuff at the beginning, but I find that it always has just the heart of the author's voice in those front pages. And so I was thinking about all of this today, the stress and those two memories, and really wanting to get something bigger up and running when it comes to prayer and helping others all around the world who just need it with energy work. Beautiful soul, I just want to take a moment and say I am so excited to share something truly sacred with you. This October, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we'll gather for the Women's Retreat. 3 days of deep rejuvenation, angelic connection, and soul remembrance. If you've been feeling disconnected, unsure of your future, or longing for something more, this retreat was created just for you. Imagine stepping away from the weight of daily life into an energetic sanctuary where you're held, supported, and guided back to the truth of who you are. Here you'll laugh, release, and reconnect with your soul's deepest yearnings. This is your time to reconnect with your angels and awaken to the next chapter of your journey. And because I never want finances to stand in the way of a retreat, I've created a scholarship option just for this retreat. If your heart is called, this space, friends, I promise it's awaiting just for you. Come join us at theangelmedium.com/retreat. Say yes to your soul, say yes to your angels, say yes to this retreat. Questions? Email me at julie@theangelmedium.com. And now here we go, back into the show. Joan starts her, just little letter here off to the readers with this book, and she talks about angels. She said the word angel in both Hebrew and Greek means messenger. And that is how we typically view these beautiful beings, as heavenly couriers who warn us of danger or bolster our faith when it gets shaky. It's rare to think of asking angels for help or for specific help working out a difficult situation. Yet has not God encouraged us to follow our angels? She cites a Bible, or she's much more religious than spiritual, but we won't hold that against her. She cites Exodus 23.20.23. If we intercede for one another, aren't angels welcome to join these prayers? I love that. If we intercede for one another, by praying for one another, she's talking about, aren't angels welcome to join these prayers? She says, this occurred to me a few years ago when I collected several stories of people's angelic visions. In many cases, the angels weren't simply watching, but were involved, kissing someone's injury, or assembling, as we humans were, to pray over a person in need. Witnesses mentioned that a deeper sense of power and prayerfulness seemed apparent. My friend Tony offered an explanation. She had been wheeled into the operating room and was having surgery. Somewhat nervous, stress, right? We all have, oh my gosh, that stress. She suddenly saw a huge angel standing next to the surgeon. Tony looked around the room. It was filled with angels. Suddenly, peace swept through her. I suddenly remembered an old saying, Tony said, that when you pray for someone, an angel goes and sits on that person's shoulder. She thought of all the prayers being offered for her now, born to heaven on the wings of angels. Why should she be afraid? God is certainly the one who answers prayer. But God's angels can surely petition us. Oh, wait, let me go back. But God's angels can surely petition for us, just as our family and friends can. In this book, Guardian Angels, you will find many examples of angels doing just that. Invite them into your prayer life and see what happens. And she signs that letter, Best Wishes, Joan Wester Anderson. And then in this intro, I think this is really fascinating. So I know that I read like a Hurricane Katrina story, but this is different. I read that one a couple weeks ago. This one is completely different, but I don't know about you. Hurricane Katrina had a huge impact on me watching that 20 years ago in August of 2005. And I remember just sitting in a state of stunned prayer and just praying and praying and praying for people. I was just out of college at that time. Kind of was like when the fires were happening in California in January of this past year. Oh my gosh, just complete state of just constant prayer and prayer and prayer and prayer. Okay, so Joan Wester Anderson begins the introduction. When Hurricane Katrina roared across Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama in August of 2005, leaving unbelievable destruction in its wake, many people wondered if God had forgotten us and had left us unprotected. If so, why? She goes on to talk about prayer. And I find what she says about prayer to just be beautiful, beautifully worded. Prayer, it must be an important activity if God holds it up as a remedy for our country's woes. It must mean that even our most generous acts of love and support for one another must be based on a foundation of prayer. Why? Prayer is the beginning, the moment in which we acknowledge our relationship with God. We put God first in our hearts. We offer God our lives, our will, our trust. Once brought into God's arms, we are energized, ready to continue our work in this life. I suspect that the prayer God is asking of us, especially at this critical time in history, that was 2006, may also involve an element of risk. Perhaps simply praying in the safe confines of our homes or churches is not enough right now. Maybe we are being asked to reach out, to pray in a public manner, to acknowledge a sovereign God as our forefathers did, even to do it as a matter of course before the next earthquake or hurricane heads our way. During the Mississippi floods of 1993, one mayor announced that we've run out of options. There's nothing left but prayer. People of all faiths then gathered in the town square and asked God to stop the rain. The rain continued, but for some inexplainable reason, the flooding itself ended. It was an awesome event, largely ignored by the media, but one wonders what might have happened if prayer had been the first option rather than the last. One magnificent facet of prayer is that anyone can do it, from a toddler singing to the presidential prayer team. I didn't even know that that was a thing back in the day. We have a presidential prayer team. Very, very cool. With over 3 million participants praying for the president's intentions every day, we all have equal access to God's heart. Moms in Touch International is one of many groups formed around a single theme to protect their children from danger. Members can involve meeting with one or two neighbors each morning or attending a large church prayer service. There are also solitary prayer warriors, people who feel occasionally summoned to put aside their own work or recreation and pray for a particular situation or person, even someone they've never met. Occasionally, one will also hear about a victim soul, someone who, by suffering, is bearing burdens for others in a far higher form of prayer than most of us have ever experienced. That's interesting. I wonder if she's talking kind of about something like stigmata. I'll have to look that up. There's true power in prayer, even though we're not exactly sure how it works. Has someone ever told you you're in my prayers and you actually felt that strength and comfort while you underwent a medical procedure or took a test? I have felt that all year long. I have literally felt your prayers. And it has been one of the things as a guiding force that has just given me so much strength, which is why I want to talk about that today, because it feels palpable. You know, when you're in the ocean, like when we go down to Marco Island where we have family, the waves are just very, very gentle, right? Like there's really not a lot of waves whatsoever. Or when you're in Lake Michigan on a very beautiful day, really, really gentle waves. They're not crazy. But I remember going to Hawaii for one of our big anniversaries, and the waves there were like crazy. We were in Oahu and I was like, wow, like it's hard to just stand right now. That is what I mean when I say palpable. Like the prayers of yours that I have felt coming in for our family this year. I mean, it just feels so palpable, like those beautiful Hawaii waves where you just feel the strength come into you. You feel lifted. You feel that fear removed, and it's just incredible. It's a force. So when she says, "Has anybody ever told you you're in my prayers and you actually felt that strength and comfort while you underwent a medical procedure or took a test or just had a crazy year?" She says it happens to us all. Even hospital researchers have done studies in which some patients were prayed for by strangers and some with similar maladies, Maladies. How do you say that word? With similar maladies were not. Invariably, the prayed for group reported fewer surgical after effects and quicker release times. We have things in the right order when we pray first. I wish I could contribute some school supplies, a reader wrote to me, as a group of us launched a drive to help disadvantaged students. But my budget is too tight. There's nothing I can do. Can you pray for these children to receive what they need? I asked her. Of course she could, and she did. And she most certainly shared in the most successful results as much as if she had donated a truckload of merchandise. And, you know, this is something that kind of irks me when I see it on social media because, you know, a lot of times you'll see people say on social media, like, it's not enough to pray. You know, you have to take action. You have to do this. And I got to tell you, friends, I think we have that wrong. You know, when you have the ability to take action and to donate or to do something, you feel that calling within your heart. You know that. And so you go and you do that work. And there are times in all of our lives where like you just don't have the bandwidth to do that. And for those who are in that position in their life right now, I just need you to know that God and the angels say that prayer is the most important, the most important. And I think that she's right when she says this, and that people on social media really have this messed up, and them putting that out there that we shouldn't just pray for the situation. I do see where they're coming from, but I think that they have it wrong. And I think that they're kind of getting into people's heads. And you listen, the message doesn't change unless we change it. And so we need to be vocal about that as a community and say, no, you know what? Prayer does move mountains. Prayer changes people's hearts. Prayer changes people's minds. Prayer changes the vibration. Prayer allows God an opening to bring more oneness and healing into a situation. And it is doing something massive to take your mental energy, your time, and to pray for others. So she goes on and she says, praying, of course, does not always bring about the results we expect. For not yet, or I have something better in mind, can be an answer to a prayer as well as yes. God has a plan for each of us, and timing is a critical element in building our own characters and bringing this plan to fruition. As a loving God, God must sometimes nudge us along in our path, rather than pamper us in a temporary indulgence. Nor should we expect that God's answer to a prayer always conforms to our ideas. John, an elderly gentleman in mid-Florida, was concerned about the roof on his mobile home. She says it was leaky and definitely needed replacement, but he had no money to do it. Instead, he prayed, informally as he had always done. Don't forget the roof, he'd remind God at night just before bedtime. God, whatever you decide will be just fine, John would pray. Maybe John should have rephrased that, because one night a tornado swept through the area, touching down here and there. The next morning, although several of the mobile homes in John's area were spared, his was not. The entire roof was ripped off and broken into pieces. People felt sorry for John until he smilingly replied to them that the insurance company would have to provide a new roof. Like John, perhaps our best prayers are those in which we ask God to direct our lives and trust that God's intense love for us will always carry us through. So this book is a book about prayers. It includes angels, of course, for angels are masters at prayer. And they are. In fact, the primary work of highest functioning choir of angels is to praise and worship God. Angels can take our deepest yearnings, our brokenness, and our confusion to God. See, I am sending an angel before you to guard you on your way and to bring you to the place I have prepared, says the book of Exodus, chapter 23. I really like that. That's God saying to us, see, I am sending an angel before you, not just one. Billions of angels. Oh, there are so many angels around you right now to guard you on the way and bring you to the place I have prepared. When I read that, I constantly think about the soul's plan, that soul path that we all have, and that we know that plan way before we ever come here to earth. And that when we pray, we are granted angels that are going to bring us to that designated divine place that was already decided on by your soul, first and foremost, and God on the other side. She continues with this quote, "Be attentive to your angel and heed their voice. If you heed their voice and carry out all I tell you, I will be an enemy to your enemies and a foe to your foes." This is the angel's purpose, these beautiful beings who have been given to us as our lifelong companions. If we don't know them already, we should make it a point to do so. Oh, always, always, always. Some of the people you'll meet in this book recited formal prayers. Others rambled incoherently at a moment of extreme stress. Ooh, that stress I was talking about. Some prayed for themselves, some interceded for others. Some prayers were active rather than passive. Some were prayed in solitude, while others were linked in prayer chains or were part of a church function. The format of the prayers wasn't significant. Their acknowledgement that God was in charge was all that seemed necessary. I see that too. You know, a lot happens with that stress. When you start to go, okay, God, you know what? I have no clue how you're going to work a miracle, but this is the miracle that I need. And when you kind of get out of your own way, because we are so small and we aren't small on the other side. On the other side, we are these infinite beings, but here we're part of a system that is very much unlike heaven itself. And so when we're here on earth and we go, all right, not in control, God, take the wheel, you got this, so much changes. I mean, that stress energetically, you can just see it pour out of your body. And you can see the angels come and take that stress. So she goes on to say, so may prayer become a more significant and rewarding part of your life. May you pray for those you love in the quiet peace of the night, and may you do it with confidence and trust. May you find something to celebrate about each new day, not merely those circled in red on your crowded calendar. May you greet the seasons of your heart with enthusiasm, ready to learn and love ever more deeply. May you acknowledge the pressures in your life, unburden yourself of those that can be eased, and let the angels help you carry the rest. That's so huge. Let the angels just take it with the prayer. Take that stress up and off of your body, your chakras, your auric field. And may you remember God's age-old promise: I will never forsake or abandon you. Hebrews 13:5. Now let's begin the praying. Okay, so it's probably too long for a Thursday episode already, but I just wanted to remind you how important prayer is. If you need prayers, I'm going to be praying for you too, friends. Go over to worldslargestprayernetwork.com, worldslargestprayernetwork.com, and I will be praying for you, and you'll have a network of people praying for you. And we're going to do so much more with that soon. I just want to say one thing from the bottom of my heart. I am just so grateful for you two that have booked a reading with me, that have participated and registered for the Angel Reiki School and the upcoming women's retreat. It has been a year that has just really tested me with so much stress, and you continuing to just listen to the podcast and make purchases and support my business has been the biggest blessing. And I feel just so beyond grateful. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are looking for a woman's retreat, I know it's not a lot of time of planning that I'm giving you, but the very first weekend in October, we start Friday night, we end Saturday early afternoon, about like 12:30-ish, you can expect. We're going to have so much fun. I go into women's retreats with an outline kind of sketched in pencil, but whenever we're in person together, the best compliment that I've ever received is from people who have been to so many of my in-person events, and they're always like, Julie, they are the warmest. Everybody is hugging, so loving and so kind and just so warm. And that's the biggest compliment. So when I'm there, oh my gosh, messages are just coming through for so many people. I keep the event small so that everybody can get a reading in the group. We're going to have so much fun together. That's the very first weekend of October, the women's retreat. And then I run the Angel Reiki School in person every couple of months. I'm running it in September, in November, in January of, September, November 2025, January 2026. So sign up for that over at theangelmedium.com. You can book a reading with me there. There's a discount if you let it air on the podcast. And again, I am so incredibly grateful for you. And I just love you so much. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Beautiful souls, before we close, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for listening, for walking this path of radiant energy oneness alongside me. Your presence means so much. If you feel called to go deeper, there are so many ways that we can journey together. The Angel Reiki School, the upcoming women's retreat, the Angel membership. In September, we begin a brand new course in the Angel membership called Clearly Hear Your Intuition. And in October, we're starting a course called Find Your Purpose in 30 Days. These are soul-shifting, life-changing offerings, and I would love to hold space for you inside them. You can join the Angel membership to receive these courses, or simply purchase them on their own at theangelmedium.com/membership. Or if you want to purchase them on their own, you can go to theangelmedium.com/shop. And now let's take a moment together. I want you to take 3 deep breaths in and out. With each breath, feel love moving through you. Ask your angel the question or questions that are resting on your heart, and then listen. Their whispers arrive as intuition, as knowing, as peace. Friends, if you long to hear your angels more clearly, don't forget I've got a course for this coming up in September where you can really start to hear your intuition more clearly. I'll walk you through step by step. Until next time, friends, breathe, trust, and know that you are never alone. Your angels are always, always, always with you. Love you.